Hello, this is Joanne. I have 67 raised beds in my garden, and this happens to be bed number 5. Previously, it was strawberries. The strawberries have been pulled out. The reason I pulled the strawberries out is that they were so overgrown. They were mostly like what I call an alpine or a lawn strawberry. So the problem with that is that they're very small strawberries. I've wanted to replace them with an everbearing, and I actually have one other June bearing growing in the garden in a small bed with a bunch of daughter plants that I can transplant next year. So this bed was just about time to dig it up. It's been strawberries for 3 years, so let's get going. So what I'm planting in this bed this year is going to be garlic. Now, the instructions here say that I should space them at least 6 inches apart. 9 is ideal. So the first garlic that I'm going to plant is some Russian Reds. Now this year I bought seed garlic. You can buy garlic at your local store. The only thing is they don't always indicate where they're bought. So you might have to, check it out, see if they were bought. If they were bought in a completely different area, different country, you might want to trade. So this one says 9. These Russian Reds are really big. So I'm just going to set this to 9. I don't know how to use these little numbers on this little gadget, but it puts that about here. So we're going to space these big Russian Reds at 9 inches apart. The rest of them are smaller. We'll probably make them at 6. So I got this little gadget online just so that I could space a little bit better because I am horrible at spacing. I tend to get closer and closer and closer. So we're going to give this a quick go through. I got my handy dandy shovel here somewhere, and get it. Okay. So I am going to space these garlic at 9 inches apart. I'm going to start away from the edge of the bed also because the edges of my beds tend to get very dry, so I want to stay away from the edges of the beds. They just don't seem to hold the moisture that they usually, as the winter or as the summer goes on, they tend to separate. They make air pockets, and it's just not ideal. So let's just start this. We'll start here. I'm going to just run this along. That gives me a row. I can use these to stab. This can be used for seeds, but my garlic needs to go, according to the instructions, 4 to 6 inches, or no, my 2 to 3 inches deep, and then my mulch is going to be 4 to 6 inches. So that leaves a lot of space. This is not quite. Oh, this is almost, well, actually, this is almost 1 and 3/4 inches deep, but I'm still not going to use it to be my thing. So I'm just going to use this as a spacer. Now, how do I normally do this without this little gadget? Normally what I do is I just eyeball it, and I've proven that that's not working. In the past, I've done strings. Strings take a little bit because you got to get them lined up. So it's not as easy as you think it is. So, okay, so we're going to start back here with the first row. And we're just going to start planting these. Now, what you need to know about these garlic cloves, the bulb is the big piece, the cloves are the small ones, this is the basal plate that's on the bottom. That's where your roots started. And this little tip here is your top. Now, some people will say bury that little tip. Some people won't. Now, I'm cold where I am, so I like to get it so that that is just under the soil surface. By the time the mulch gets in here, that'll be perfect. So we're just going to start. Dig a little hole. It seemed like I dug a lot, but when I go to fill it back in, there's a tiny bit up. These are big bulbs. So by the time the mulch goes on there, this will be done. Now what I'm going to do now, actually, and I learned this from Emma Gardner because I do the same thing. Just put your bulbs in the hole. Don't cover them up until you're ready. That way you know where your bulb is. You don't have to guess. If you have to stop for some reason, you know where you're going. So I'm just going to use this little guide just to give me some spaces here. Now this is only 4 feet wide, so 9 will only give me 4 at the maximum, and then I'll be close to the edge. So maybe what I'll do, see, sometimes it takes a little thought. I'm going to back this up just a little bit. I am over. And as a gardener, you'll do the same thing. You'll realize, oh, that doesn't work for me, so I'm going to come back to the drawing board. I was too far over. So let's go here. Okay, put a little space in. Let's go here. So that'll just stick up by the time that's covered. Space. What I did this time when I ordered my garlic was I decided to let the experts pick. So they had the option to just pick something for your zone, and then from there, they would pick and send you what would work best for your zone in your area. So I'm going to trust them. I've seen Russian Reds before. Actually, I think I've grown Russian Reds before. And these are like a very popular, I love the red color, and it has a nice flavor. So, okay, so row 1 is done. We're going to do row 2. So I'm just going to take this over. Now, when I actually, the funny thing is when I laid my beds out, when I first did this garden, actually, I should probably go in one. I'm going to go in between. When I laid this garden bed out, I actually used sticks. So if you just got a stick, you can find like an old yardstick or just even any old stick that you have around the house. You could always just use that. So see, my 2 are here. I'm going to put this one here. That gives it the maximum amount of space. Why are they in my mason jars? The reason they're in my mason jars is because I give them a soak of about an hour. Just to get them hydrated. They've gone on a long journey. So I just want to hydrate them for an hour. I've seen people do the fertilizer, and it had mentioned doing fertilizer, but then I checked on a few other of my, what I would consider websites that I like, that are, other YouTubers that I like, that I think are authoritative. First of all, they don't soak. So this one's kind of, and again, my spacing is weird, but you know what? At this point, I don't. Okay, tell me how I did that wrong. Oh, this guy's over too far. Okay. See, I just start digging and I get them too close and too far away. So that one should be in the middle of those. And this one. I know I'm moving a lot of material, but I'm really not, because this soil is very dry and it's collapsing in on itself like a sand pit. So it's just right there. Okay, so I'll start the next one. I don't have very many of these Russian reds to plant. So come back a row. And again, use a stick. Honestly, in the past, that's what I've used. I keep forgetting to do it when I get my onions. This one's really kind of thin and small. I think I'm going to plant it anyways. This one too, but I'm going to plant them towards the back. Yeah, I didn't measure. See? Measure twice and complain about it all the time. Okay. So just a simple stick. Now, I can't tell you how many times I've watched YouTube channels and I've seen the music gadget and I'm like, I gotta have that gadget. And then I find out that, well, yeah, it's a gadget. It's not exactly doing what I want it to do. And I could just use a stick. Sweet. It's very simple here. A stick would just do everything I need. Now, I usually don't reach all the way to the other side of the garden. I'm still finding strawberry plants. There's a strawberry plant that would come back. But I will this time. It's just easier. And then I can get one more in here. Now, these are all hardneck garlic. So what's the difference? Well, I think I showed in the house the hardneck has that center stalk to them. And one thing you have to do, there's one task you have to do with hardneck garlic that you don't have to do with your other garlics, your softneck garlics. And that is when it comes time for them to set up a flower stalk. It's when you see that flower stalk, you'll see that little curl. Harvest those stalks. Now, I'm going to say harvest and not just cut them and throw them away, because those stalks you can use as garlic. You can just you can just cut them up. You can freeze them, and they make just excellent mild garlic for your whatever dish you're cooking in. You can cook them up green, throw them in like you would a scallion, although the flavor is not a scallion. Just using this to give me a line. All right, well, let's get this finished. I was having a hard time getting out to the garden today. And anybody that knows me might understand, but I know that a lot of other people out there will understand also. There's just some days you just can't motivate yourself. And sometimes when I say don't give up, I think I say it sometimes more for me than anything else. Because it's just so easy to give up. It's so easy to just not come out here. It's so easy to not want to do things, to just let the garden go. It's easy to sit in front of the TV and play my electronic little solitaire game. So I'd like to say to anybody else out there, don't give up should be your motto too. You know, this morning we did some work in the garden and the baby poured the garlic all over my garlic things. I was just a bit upset with him Not enough, not, you know, not terribly upset. He's a baby. I kind of understand that, but you know, it was just kind of like, don't do that. Like, I gotta have eyes in the back of my head sometimes. And I think I'm just in a funk this week. I just posted my video, a tribute to my mom, who at the age of 40 went back to school. And she was really just my hero. So this is where I'm going to stop this row. Let's see if I'm back enough. Just going to put this in the middle here. Now, of course, I didn't bring stakes or anything to mark these because, well, that would make me a gardener. What kind of a gardener would I be if I marked things? So what do I have to mark? Oh, you know what? I have labels on my... I'm just going to put the labels on. The place that I ordered these from sends these nice labels, so I stuck them to the jar. So I'm just going to put this here. It's not going to stay, but it's a temporary marker so that I know that in the front here is these. And I'll come back and get a little stake or something on them. So now that they're in, I hope you can see all the way back here. See if you can see all the way back. I think you can. Maybe not. Maybe I was out of sight. So now that they're all in, I use the marker, the thing to mark, so that I know there's, and I'll stick the jar here, just temporary, until I bring some markers out. So I know that they're in. So now all I'm going to do is, I ordered, one of the things that garlic likes is sulfur. So these garlic fertilizers tend to have a little bit of sulfur in them. So what I do is I just put them around. I don't really want to fertilize the bulb itself. I don't want to burn the bulb. I'm just going to throw this around the top real quick, just to make sure I got some in there. And then I'm just going to cover, now I'm going to come back and cover these bulbs. So now these bulbs are being covered. Okay. And you know what? I probably shouldn't have done that with the fertilizer. But I think about it after I've done things. And it's too late to pick it up. So these little things are just barely sticking out. These are bigger bulbs. And what I want to do is, the reason I'm doing this now, and the reason why you'll see everybody on YouTube doing it now, is because this is the perfect time of the year to get your garlic in. Why is that? Well, you want your garlic to get in the ground, be established for a little while, so that it can start to throw its roots out and get itself nice and sturdy for the winter. Then it goes through its winter cycle, and then it will come out with it'll come out, start growing nice and strong in the spring. And the reason that why you want to grow strong in the spring is because even before you work the ground, you want this garlic growing. And then I will harvest it in July. I will save the biggest bulbs, or the biggest cloves, from the biggest bulbs. And those will be the ones that I will plant so that I get the biggest bulbs again next year. I had bought garlic several years ago, and I was doing that. And then 1 year I put them in, and then I forgot them. And then by the time I harvested them, they were so small, I didn't have many. So that's why I'm starting this again. So one of the benefits of having your own garden, making sure that you don't get a hybrid, and well, you can't have a hybrid, but getting heirloom varieties is so that you can grow them year after year after year. There's usually no restrictions. So this is how I'm growing them this year. This is going to be the Red Russians. I'm going to put them in here. I'm going to finish up. I've got some Asian tropical and some, I don't remember the name of the other ones, Ivans, I think. I'm going to get those in the ground next. Those I'm going to plant a little bit closer. So this little gadget has a way to move it. I'm not using this correctly. I mean, you're supposed to just drop it in the soil and use it for seed spacing, but I'm using it as just a quick spacer. Again, I bought it and I didn't mean to, so I'm just going to throw this in here. Now, if you have a little sulfur, that's perfect for your bulbs. Sulfur is one of the best things you can do. Not too heavy, never, ever. The one thing I never do is go too heavy with my fertilizer. I'd rather err on the side of not burning and letting it get its nutrients from the ground than getting it from something that, if I can't buy it, I don't have it. So there you go. Garlic in the ground, and I'll start my next row. I'm going to finish these rows without showing you, I think, or if I do, I'm going to run this by very fast. I think I'll just run it really fast. Just let it run. And that's it. Garlic's that easy. The benefits is cooking whatever you need to and keeping vampires away, apparently. I haven't seen any vampires, so maybe it does work. So if I do see a vampire, I'll try it. But so far, so good. All right. Take care. Have a great day. And even if you're having a down day, if you're having a day where you're missing somebody, missing who they were, missing who you were, missing the life you had, missing the life, trying to accept the life you do have. Even though it's great, you still miss people from the past. And so I'm sorry to be a downer, but, everybody out there has lost somebody probably that they love. And it just reminds you of all the other people you've lost. My aunts, especially some of my uncles, people that have been there and supported me all along. My late husband was a huge, huge supporter. He made me go back to school again and get my master's that I don't use anymore. But he kept pushing me. He kept saying, you can do it, you can do it. So if you've got people in your life that keep telling you can do it, keep them around you, hug them, hold them tight as best you can. And don't give up, okay? Please, please don't give up. Give it another day. Tomorrow is a little bit better. You'll feel better. Get out there, do something. Stop playing damn games on your phone. Damn. Ooh, can I say damn? I think I could say darn. Well, damn if it's holding water back. Whatever. All right. Have a great day. You can watch me do the rest of these, and I'm going to run this in fast forward mode. Take care, be safe, and don't give up. All right, that's it for this bed. It's done. So, oh, no, it's not. I didn't cover those up. I'm going to go cover those up, and it's done. So happy gardening, and take care of yourself, and don't give up. Thanks.